password on this computer. If you want to go into the chat and enter your name, I will then have it for your attendance. And if you aren't able to do that, just let me know and I'll kind of add you to my high-tech Word document that I have on the other computer. So.
Oh, Jackie's here. Hi, Jackie.
Stephanie, good to see you back again. Stephanie is a guest, prospective member of our club, everybody. And if you're on gallery view, you will see that she is joined in our meeting by one of her feline friends. Stephanie is actually at the Friends of the Animal Shelter Foundation.
Huh. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Jackie.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for logging in. As everybody comes in, just a reminder that at the bottom of your screen, you should see a chat button. That is, if you're on a typical computer. It might be a little different if you're on a phone or if you're on an iPad. But at the bottom of that screen, there's a chat button. And if you can open that up, you can actually type your name in there, hit enter afterwards, and your attendance will be registered. The other thing to remember is at the bottom of your screen, you should see a mute button that will mute your microphone. So that way, we'll use that a good deal. In addition, there is what looks like a video camera. And if you do not want people to see you eating your lunch, you will go out there and you will mute the video camera and you'll see a little red line that'll cross that. So.
Okay.
Hello, Barb. This is Jim. How are you doing?
Hey, Jim, I'm good. You're not in your upstairs room at your parents', huh?
Different room. I've got some fine art behind me. A bushel of corn.
Okay, that's perfect.
You can hear me all right?
I can hear you just right. You're good.
All right. Very good.
Where's your chat? Yep.
See what they're doing.
And the numbers are rising. That is wonderful to see. Glad that so many of you are here. So just a reminder, if you can, please go out to the chat button. You should see that on the bottom of your screen. Open up that box, type your name in, press enter, and that way we will know you're here. If you're a guest of someone, you could actually fill out your full name and who you are the guest of. And if you're a visiting Rotarian, please add what club you are from as well, and welcome.
Community dealers, and as well as Mayor Fry and Council President Jenkins had mentioned, they want to make sure that we have that space and a safe space for those folks to do that. And so we will continue to do that. But again, I also, want to just acknowledge the systems that we keep this standard in place.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for logging in. There is Christina Kimmerly here from St. Louis. Hello. That is great to see you, Christina. So just a reminder to people as you log in, if you're on a regular computer, at the top right, you should be able to see a button that says Speaker View or Gallery View. And if you go to Gallery View, you will get to see all these lovely images of your fellow Rotarians in their various surroundings. So you might see Jim Connard with some nice wall art behind him of a bushel of corn because he's at his parents' house in Spencer, Iowa. And while we're mentioning Spencer, Iowa, there is Chuck Swanson, who looks like he's in some room of, for a minute I thought he was outside, but he's not. So just a reminder to everyone, use the chat button, open it up, type your name in, press enter, and we will know that you are here for your attendance. Thank
Press
you.
the chat button.
Hi, Barb.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing fine today. I've already
Great.
had a productive morning and it's just gonna keep getting better.
Awesome.
And if people have trouble with the mute button, I can actually mute you, so just be warned. If you need to make an announcement, just remember that you'll have to unmute your microphone to do so. So our numbers are rising and rising. We are now over 40 members.
Barb, I think consistent with the past few weeks, we'll start the meeting at 12:03. How does that sound?
Sounds perfect.
Great.
Welcome, everybody. Just a reminder to please go out to the chat box and enter your name. That way we know that you have attended. In addition, if you can, please find the mute button. That would be, again, at the bottom left of your screen. If necessary, I can go out there and I can help you with your mute if you would like that help. So. So just a reminder to everybody, as you log in, please make sure that you go to the chat button and you enter your name. If you're a visitor, please write who you are a guest of. And if you're a visiting Rotarian, let us know what club you're from. In addition, we will have introductions. So at that point in time, if you need to speak, just make sure that your microphone is unmuted.
Barb,
Yeah?
I don't know if it would serve any purpose, but I wonder how many people know that you can do individual chats within this group.
I don't know. I could. Do you think I should announce that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that while you can, so what Gary is talking about to everybody who is logged on is that in the chat box at the bottom of it, you can actually see a little button where you can chat to everyone, or you can chat to somebody who is within this meeting. And then that would be a message just between the two of you. So, you know, if I wanted to speak specifically with Jim, I could do so. Now, I am going to tell you this meeting is recorded, which means that in addition to recording the actual video that you're seeing, it also records the chat. So I will get to see that chat. So while it says private, just know that it will be in my message. So don't say anything bad about me, because I'm going to see it if you do, okay? But I'm the only one that really would see it. So. Welcome, everybody. We're getting close to 60. That would be great. So just a reminder to everyone, please go to the chat button at the bottom and click on it, enter your name, and that way we will know that you are attending. If you're a guest, please put who you are a guest of, and if you are a visiting Rotarian, please list the club that you belong to. Thank you.
Well, Barb, by my watch, it's 12:03. Does everything look clear to you to begin?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, as we always do, welcome to the meeting of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, everyone. Let's please begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able, please join me in standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Jim, I'm going to mute everybody so that you need to unmute yourself. Perfect.
Right. Am I coming through, Barb?
You are.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. As I said, sunny day out here, so it's nice to be able to meet today via Zoom. And for those of you who have been joining us for a while, we've had a number of Zoom meetings that have gone rather well. If you've joined the meeting in the last 5 or 10 minutes, you've heard some general instructions from Barb, but we typically start our meetings with some Zoom tips from Barb that help us run things smoothly. Barb, I'll turn it over to you for some additional tips.
You bet. Thanks, Jim. Now, I want to remind everybody, Jim is in Spencer, Iowa, where apparently it is sunny. But Jim, I have to tell you that here, there's a bit of a storm moving in. It's a little overcast, probably a bit of rain. So, but lucky you, you are where the sun is. So just a reminder for everybody, if you are on Zoom, especially if you're on a computer, it might be a little different if you're on your phone or if you're on an iPad. But in the top right corner, there is a button that says Gallery View or Speaker View. If you go to the Gallery View, you will actually see a lot of little thumbnail images of your fellow Rotarians. And you'll also see an arrow where you can scroll through and see the other people. When you go to Speaker View, you will see a larger screen of the speaker. And we highly recommend you do that when we're making announcements and when our speaker is actually talking today. In addition, you know that there is a mute button that is for your microphone. In addition, there is a camera button, and if you click on that, you can actually mute your camera, or it says stop video. And what that will do is just put your name up. If we do have any trouble with bandwidth, you may want to move to stop your video, okay? In addition, there is the participant button, again, down on the lower area. If you go to the participant button, there is a small button that says raise your hand. If you have an announcement, if you're a visitor and you want to be introduced, etc., we're going to ask that you will raise your hand, or if you have a question for our speaker. Now, if you're not able to do that, you can try to put it in the chat, and I will attempt to capture that and try to make sure that you can make your announcement. But kind of managing a lot of different things, so I can't always promise I'll see everything. So I think that's it, and back to you, Jim.
All right, thank you, Barb. Well, we appreciate all your help and organization. These meetings have run smoothly, and we appreciate all that you do. I should clarify to everyone, I'm enjoying being in the sunshine in Spencer, Iowa, but this trip here was not for recreational purposes. My mother had a medical emergency that required my travel here to Spencer. So while I'd like to be here for recreational reasons, a couple of trips by my mom to the Spencer Municipal Hospital have occurred here recently, and she's out now and getting better. But if it weren't for these Zoom meetings, I wouldn't be able to join you today. Glad that I can participate. So a little bit of an explanation there. First, what I'd like to do is welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians. So if you are able, please click raise hand if you are a guest and visiting or a visiting Rotarian, and Barb will recognize you in the order that she sees the hands raised. Barb, do we have any hands raised for guests and visiting Rotarians?
We do, actually. First off, we have a visiting Rotarian, Jackie Andrew. Jackie, would you like to say a few words?
I'm just glad to see all of you at the Iowa City Rotary Noon Club. It's just great to visit your club, and I'm happy to do so on Zoom, so thank you.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Next, we have Ryan Bell.
Hey guys, I've got Alyssa Brandt Jarrett as my guest once again. She is chiming in from her home office today and braving the rain.
Great. Welcome, Alyssa. Are you on, Alyssa? Can you say hello?
Yes, I am. Hi, sorry.
Great. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome. Next, we have Hazel Seba.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be at your meeting. Thank you, Barb.
You're welcome. Good to see you, Hazel. Next, Phil Peterson.
Hi, Phil Peterson from Iowa City AM. Glad to see everybody, and hope your mom improves, Jim and Spencer. And you do just a great job from Spencer as you do from Iowa City with Rotary.
One of the nice part about Zoom, I guess. Thanks, Phil, and welcome to the meeting.
That's great. And then I actually have a guest as well. This is Stephanie Kaler. I hopefully said that right. Stephanie is a prospective member. Stephanie, would you like to tell people where you are from?
Hello, I am from Friends of the Animal Center Foundation here in Iowa City, and I am originally from Washington, Iowa, so pretty close by.
Great. Welcome, Stephanie.
Great. I think that is all of the guests that we have today.
All
Back
right.
to you, Jim.
Anyone, any others? Anybody else want to say hello? Okay, great. Well, moving on. Next, with each of our meetings, we have what we call a Rotary moment of positivity and gratitude. These have been nice additions to our meeting agenda that we can do because we start a little bit earlier than normal since we don't have our lunches involved. So today, we're excited that our Rotary moment of positivity and gratitude will be brought to us by Eric Weiler. Eric, we'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you, Jim. Well, it's great to see everyone. We all know that COVID has really changed all of our lives in different ways, but I think it's important in life to try to make the best of every situation. And really within the Weiler household, we've really taken time to reconnect as a family. My family includes myself, my wife, and our two boys who are 10 and 7. And early on in the quarantine, we got together and we agreed upon a schedule, which has worked really well. From 8 to 4:30, my wife and I work remotely. I'd like to tell you our kids do homework throughout the day, but reality, it's a lot of Minecraft playing, and there's some fighting in there as with kids. At 4:30, we break and we take a family walk. We've been able to enjoy a lot of new trails and parks we've never visited before. At 6 o'clock, we do dinner, and at 7 o'clock, we do a family movie. And our goal is that 10, 20, 30 years down the road, our kids will look back at this time and it won't be a negative, it will be a positive. They'll really appreciate and value the time we spent together as a family. And speaking of family, I hope everyone feels like Rotarians are part of your family. I know whenever I'm out in the community, if I'm at the grocery store or the Iowa game, I always run into someone I know. And when my wife asks me, how do you know them? I turn and smile and say, they're a Rotarian. Time and time again, I bump into Rotarians in the community. So I hope everyone knows when you're part of our Rotary Club, you're not just one of 275 Rotarians, you have 275 friends within the club. So in closing, I just hope everyone continues to stay healthy and safe. And I look forward to the day that we can meet again in person. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Outstanding job, and certainly a moment of positivity there. For those that are just joining us, or just as a reminder to everyone, Barb, that you've seen here, of course, running these meetings, is our president-elect. Barb's term as president will begin in July of this year. So the countdown is on, Barb. But our president-elect is Eric Weiler. So Eric, we're looking forward to your presidency as well down the road. But thanks again for your moment of positivity. All right, let's move into some announcements. Similar to our introduction of guests, we're going to have introduction, some announcements. If you have an announcement, just raise your hand and we will go to you. I always like to begin the announcement section with a United Way update. So Tricia Smith or Katie Knight, are either of you on and available to give us a United Way update?
Hi Jim, it's Trish. I'm super excited to share this update today. We have two different things we want to share with you all. First of all, Barb's going to share her screen in a moment because yesterday was a big day for our Rotary/United Way meal delivery. We delivered to 2 different sites yesterday. The first site was a delivery from Big Grove, and Sean McIntyre was our helpful volunteer there. He delivered 75 meals to Mercy IC, where Margaret Reese and her team accepted those, and we're very appreciative of that. Just so you know, this was kind of a nice hot meal this time. It was actually homemade sauerkraut with some homemade potatoes and then a stuffed sausage link that was all done in-house. And so it smelled delicious. I'm not sure how Sean got over to Mercy without eating one of those. At the same time, I flew away from Big Grove and ran over to Iowa City Free Lunch Program. The Marriott delivered 150 lunches you all provided to the free lunch program. And in that image there, you can see Jama. She's one of the associate caretakers there at the free lunch program. And then the 3 volunteers directly below her were from Solon High School. They were all going to be entering high school this next fall. And so we had some young Spartans in there doing some silver cord volunteer work for us. And so, like I said, it was just an incredibly fun, but very busy day for our meal program. We did get the opportunity this morning to lift Iowa City Noon Rotary up on Z102.9. 7:05 this morning, I jumped on with their morning crew and jumped the morning scramble, and we had a great conversation about the neat opportunity that's provided for our community, and it was a great privilege of mine to lift up Noon Rotary. So super excited we got to do that. Next week will be our last meal delivery. That'll be on Wednesday, June 3rd, and that will be at Mercy IC. So I'll give you kind of a recap next week when we do our announcement section. The only other thing I wanted to share from United Way is that we have a new program in partnership with the Community Foundation of Johnson County. Due to a very generous donor there and a named fund, they have provided all the materials needed to create mask kits. So if you wanted to jump into the mask making adventure, we would encourage you to do it with United Way and the Community Foundation. We've already prepared the kits. You can take a kit of 10 masks, 20 masks, or 30 masks. You can make those at home and then return them to United Way. And then we're partnering with local nonprofits, hospitals, and other entities who have essential workers who need to have this protection moving forward, but are not finding the resources for those. So if you're interested in jumping into our Mask Up program, you can find information on our website at unitedwayjwc.org, or you can link in through our Facebook, United Way of Johnson and Washington Counties, or our Twitter page. So we would love to have a whole bunch of masks made. Our goal is 2,000, and I would love to say that Rotarians contributed a good chunk of those. So if you have questions, you can chat me. I will say I do have to jump off the call early today, but you're welcome to email me as well.
Thank you, Trish. We're proud of our cooperation with United Way and the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, so thanks for all you do.
Next announcement we have is from Mary Ellen Lewis. Mary Ellen?
Hi, everybody. As you may know, I've been the, excuse me, chair of the our club's Rotary Youth Exchange for the last 4 years or so. This last year, we hosted a student from Germany, Anna Meyer, and we've been sponsoring a student who is Jordan Berry, the son of our fellow Rotarian Joe Berry, and Jordan is still in Switzerland. So Anna returned to Germany on May 18th, 2 weeks early. Her mom started to get a little nervous about the situation in Iowa, and so she returned a few weeks early, but she had a wonderful experience with the 3 families who hosted her during her stay here. So I also wanted to announce that I'm going to be stepping down as chair of our committee, and I would like to invite anyone who's interested in either becoming chair of the committee or joining the committee. I'd be more than happy to speak with you, as would Barb, or Barb and I together. It's a great opportunity. Right now, we're not sure what will be happening next year. If Rotary International is going to continue the program next year, or maybe start it and have it be a 1 semester. We're just not sure yet. But just to let you know, Anna thanks you. I thank you who participated. And if you're interested, please contact me or Barb. Thank you, Barb.
You are welcome. The next announcement we have is Heather Croskery. Heather?
Hi all. I am just reminding everybody that in lieu of the golf outing that was supposed to happen on Monday that's been postponed to September 28th, we will be launching the new program sponsorship. It'll be on our website, rmhc-eiwi.org/golf. And all of the proceeds we raise from the program sponsorship will count toward the golf outing. So look for that on our website starting on Monday, and we'll continue that throughout the summer until the golf outing on the 28th. And the registration is still open for the golf outing. So please remember to sign up.
Great, thank you, Heather. So Heather, if you could, please go into the chat and type in that URL so that everyone can access that.
Ew.
Next, we have an announcement from Pete.
Yeah, I am one of the many volunteers for Table to Table, and my last route before all of us old people got furloughed about 6 weeks ago because they didn't want us being exposed, I walked into the office to discover that their printer had died. So we arranged through the local grants committee of the Iowa City Noon Rotary to provide $500 to buy not only a new printer, but all the software necessary to continue the Table to Table's great work. And I suspect you all can guess with the route changes and the new volunteers that were necessary during this time period that most of us have had to stay at home. This was fortuitous and timely, and thank you to Rotary for that.
Excellent, thank you, Pete. And then lastly, I actually have an announcement, and that is that hopefully today we will be emailing out information about renewing your dues. So if you would like to have a positive impact in our community by providing your dues, you're helping us buy a printer for the free lunch program, by providing meals to area hospitals and other organizations. You're helping us run the golf tournament. You're helping us sponsor youth to travel internationally. Those are the good works that your dues do every year. So you should watch your email inbox. You'll be receiving your invoice, and we'd appreciate a prompt return if you could. In addition, we do ask that every Rotarian please step forward and provide support to the Rotary International Foundation. The great thing about internet support to the Rotary Foundation is that actually it comes back to us. It comes back to us in the means of district grants. So while you pay those dues and you make that contribution, you can know that you're having a really great positive impact in our community. So watch your inbox for that. And then lastly, just one more reminder that if you have joined our meeting recently, please go to the chat box and enter your name. Thanks, and back to you, Jim.
Excellent. Thank you, Barb. Very well said. We appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who made an announcement today. We're going to get to move on now to our speaker. And our Rotarian who is going to introduce our speaker today is Steve West. Steve, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Jim. It is my distinct pleasure to have on the program today Marty Lenz, who is the airport director for the Eastern Iowa Airport, better known as CID. I asked Marty, I think it was in February, mid-February, if he'd consider bringing a program to Rotary to tell about all the great things that are happening at the airport. At the time, ridership was up 20, almost 30%. They were finishing the concourse, the third phase. A Java House was about ready to open. A new restaurant was coming this summer. We're building a new, cargo terminal in the west side of the airport. lots of great things were happening. Well, Marty was gracious enough to say, yes, he'd like to come and tell about that and about the new Wings to Waters program, which is a water conservation program that the airport was initiating. And then things happen. I don't know if you've noticed, but in the last 90 days, lots of things have changed. And Marty, being the kind of guy that likes to get things done, still kept his promise to come and talk to us Rotarians. Marty's been the airport manager for the last 5 years. Prior to that, he was the airport manager at Rochester, Minnesota, and Appleton, Wisconsin. He's been very active in economic development in the region since he's come. He is the current president of the Iowa Public Airports Association, and he has been very active on a national basis advocating for regional airports and private and commercial airlines services. So it's a great privilege to have Marty here today to bring us up to date with all the wonderful things that are happening at the airport, but also maybe a couple of other things that may not have been on the scope of what this discussion was going to be about when we started this in February. It's a great pleasure to introduce Marty Lenz, again, the director of the Eastern Iowa Airport. Marty.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And thank you, Iowa City Rotary, for the invitation. And yeah, as Steve mentioned, my presentation has certainly changed since where we were in February. I'll get it pulled up here. Let's see. So, and I'll try to move through this fairly quickly, and I'll also share a couple of the things at Wings to Water at the end, just to let everybody know a little bit more about that program that we launched here late last year on Water Quality Initiative. But quick update, I'm going to move through fairly quick because I find it's always a lot more fun to have Q&A at the end. So hopefully folks have great questions about planning all those air trips that each one of you are hopefully booking soon, because we need more belly buttons and seats for sure. So what the good times, I kind of chuckle because in some respects our good times, as Steve mentioned, seems like yesterday, and other times it seems like it's a decade ago. But we were on, 2019, we finished our third consecutive record-breaking year. 2020 was off to another record-breaking year. We were up January 20% in passengers. February, we were up 30% in passengers. Our parking lot was nearly full, and we were scrambling to add parking. Seat inventory and investment by the carriers in the region. Overall seat inventory was up 20% going into 2020. So we were on pace for some significant growth in all-time record highs in passengers. And then, of course, some things have changed. So just quick snapshot of CID. We like to share this with folks about a little bit more about the airport. Second largest passenger service airport in the state of Iowa. We represent 30% of all of Iowa's passenger service. We do that with 5 airline partners: American, Delta, United, Allegiant, and Frontier. We are roughly 50% now of all of Iowa's air cargo. And as Steve was also an airport commissioner, as he alluded to, the air cargo complex that's actually will be opening bids here in June. That'll be an expansion by UPS that represents about 8 times larger space for UPS than they currently operate in. So significant growth continues to occur in air cargo. We are 100% self-sufficient and receive no local tax dollars. So our pre-COVID air service route map, there it is for you. 5 airlines, 15 nonstop cities. Some of the newest announcements we had leading into COVID were nonstop service to Nashville, which was real popular for folks on Allegiant Airlines. And then American had started Phoenix Sky Harbor service to complement the Allegiant Phoenix Mesa service. So really a great route map for a small hub airport in the middle of the country. So very proud of that route map. Phase 3 of our terminal project is wrapping up. There's some looks you can see on the right-hand side of the screen is what we know as the rotunda or the oculus. That's the center point of the terminal now. As you come into through screening, you come into that oculus area and then proceed up the stairs or the elevator to the gate area. And immediately at the top of the stairs, opening here in the middle of June, will be a full service Java House coffee kiosk. So for those of you in Iowa City that are very familiar with the Java House product, we're excited to have the local coffee roaster coming into the terminal and providing a local flair of coffee to complement Cedar Ridge spirits that we also have. And then on the left side of the screen, believe it or not, we have an outdoor patio. So when you come to that next trip, you can grab your beer and enjoy the sun and sit outside while you wait for your flight to board. That outdoor patio is immediately adjacent to gates 1 and 2. So then COVID-19. So that's one of our local pilots actually took a snapshot of what things were looking like in our parking lot in February. And then in April, we looked like this. So we went from about 200 total parking stalls available in the lot to roughly 200 cars in the lot and over 2,000 stalls available. So a dramatic shift and quite honestly, it's been a free fall for us in revenue and passengers overall. Our current route map is there. We remain at 5 airlines, 10 nonstop cities. So we're weathering the storm relatively well as some of our peers out there are losing some of their service. We've been able to hang on to all 5 airlines. So that's really continues to be a testament of the region and the strength, I think, of the regional economy, the investment in the region that was occurring before COVID hit. But places like Lincoln, Nebraska are losing Delta service. Lansing has lost Delta. Peoria is losing Delta. Flint, Michigan's losing all Delta service. So there's many more of those stories out there. So like many businesses, it's tough sledding right now. And certainly in the aerospace industry, it's been unprecedented times. As of April, our April numbers were in, and we were down 97% versus April of 2019, when we should be seeing roughly 50 to 60,000 enplanements, passenger boardings. We put on just under 1,500 passengers for the entire month of April. We bottomed out for daily passengers through our TSA checkpoint in April with about 80 passengers for the day, when we should be screening over 2,000 passengers a day. So a dramatic shift. As that impacts revenue, just in general, air service and passenger traffic represents about 84% of our total revenue stream. So it's been stressful days, and days that seem to go quick, and in days that just don't seem to end. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. But our airlines, our rental car companies, our concessionaire, our restaurant, gift shop have all asked for either rent waivers or deferrals. To date, we're running about a negative or a loss of approximately $1.7 million per month. And our final phase of our terminal modernization that was to kick off design this year with bidding in spring of 21. That project is on hold indefinitely. And we have in fact reduced the size of the concourse. And for those that were familiar with the fly zone and where Cedar Ridge Barrel Room sits, all of that portion of the concourse, roughly 7,000 square feet, has been closed. We have construction wall, temporary wall up, and that helps us reduce our overall costs. And quite honestly, right now, most importantly, help us reduce some costs to the airlines. So tough times for sure. There is for you what some of the carrier announcements have been by month, major carriers. So going left, my screen, left to right, that's Southwest in May announced a 66% reduction, and aircraft operating Frontier was 77% in May. Of course, the big ones, American is 80%. In June, they were down 66%. Delta has been very aggressive. They're parked at 81% and 78% for June. United, you can see, remains at 82% for May and June. So significant reductions in the number of aircraft flying about the skies nationally and certainly internationally. And certainly Iowa has not been immune to those reductions. And I'll share some more on the Iowa impacts here in a second. What does that look like for us locally? The regional capacity for Eastern Iowa is down 64%. You can see in 2019, we were doing very well. Seats were up considerably in June, 77,000 total seats. That's nearly double. Well, it is over double the number of seats even offered at that time in Moline. We always hear comparisons of Moline and Cedar Rapids. We are about twice the size of Moline now. So unfortunately, COVID hits, and we are now, as you can see to the right there, 2020, the seats, we've seen a seat decrease here in June of 66% from where we were a year ago. So 26,000 total seats versus 77,000. So significant changes, of course, in the big three. And this is where we really get a lot of our connectivity from. So we talk a lot about Delta, American, United, and those three represent roughly 80% of all domestic capacity. So they are the big players. They are parking aircraft and retiring aircraft at a rapid rate, all three of them. So each one of those carriers we expect to be much smaller when we recover from COVID than we were going into it. So there's the impact to Iowa in terms of number of seats lost, the number of market exits. You can see Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, of course, are leading the way. Sioux City, you can see on the far left side, has lost their nonstop connections to DFW, and they're down to 250 weekly seats. Iowa as a whole was at 58,000 seats for the month in May. And then, of course, we're off over 31,000 seats now. And a total of 15 nonstop markets have exited the state of Iowa. And most of those, again, are represented in Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, taking the biggest hit. So quite substantial. Of course, people want to hear about what are we doing relative to health measures and help people in the comfort level getting back to flying. And of course, the airlines have been very aggressive on a number of fronts. And I think some of the most difficult things we've faced through this process, and I'm sure we're not unique, is one, information overload. And I also think it's been somewhat confusing as to what is expected, particularly of passengers coming to the airport. Just a lot of talk and changes coming and what's tomorrow going to look like, and a lot of national conversation. But all of the carriers there are listed that are now require face masks. Allegiant does offer a kit that comes with a mask and a small bottle of hand sanitizer and some wipes as well. Effective actually Monday, June 1st, Frontier will be the first airline that will be implementing temperature checks at the gate during the boarding process. And many of the airlines have been pushing nationally for TSA to be doing temperature checks at the checkpoint. I'll just, on a personal level, I think that's not a great solution personally. That TSA, I'm not suggesting that temperature checks or some sort of health checks might not be a good idea. I think they definitely should be considered, but I just don't know that TSA is the right entity. I think they need to continue to focus on their primary mission of safety and security and leave the health screening to the experts. How that'll look going forward is yet to be determined, but certainly I do know active conversations are happening nationally, and I expect more changes to come. We have just completed our first survey of the region and trying to talk to our customers what they need to see and hear to make them get that comfort level established for returning to air travel. And what we've heard is, of course, no surprise to some extent for hand sanitizer. We've got hand sanitizer all over the terminal, and we're putting more out, more stands. We've got what we call industrial foggers. This is the electrostatic sprayers that we've got 4 of them, and we are disinfecting between each and every flight. We are actually working on a partnership with our airlines that we, the airport, would come into the aircraft in between flights and provide that service for the carriers so that their teams can focus on turning the aircraft, getting the bags where they need to be, and delivering customer service at the gate, and let us come in and provide that service for all carriers. It just is a lot more efficient. So we're putting some of those details together. That's a new partnership that may happen. We're hoping that we can provide that, but we'll see. We've got the social distancing stickers and reminders out there. Of course, all staff of the airport are required to wear masks in public areas. We ask that our tenants also wear masks. And then we're also asking our customers as they come in, please wear a mask. Of course, the airlines are requiring it on board. And for those that don't bring it or maybe forget, we do have free masks available at our information desk. So there's just some of the implementation, the plexiglass guards, the social distancing stickers, and then the fogger, if you will, in use. So as far as CID and recovery, so some of you probably have heard, and I'm going to try to pick up the pace here, but we were very successful in the CARES Act legislation, and that we received $22.8 million of CARES Act funding. With that, much like the airlines, we have some requirements as it relates to retention of workforce, and that continues to be our #1 goal, is retaining our current workforce levels. We have about just shy of 56 FTEs with the Airport Commission team. That requirement of maintaining 90% of our FTEs does go away January 1st, but that will continue to be our goal post-January, but recovery is needed soon to ensure us our ability to maintain that. But what are we doing with the $22.8 million? The commission will be hearing the airport project. So Steve got a snapshot of this. He's the chair of our finance committee, so he's heard this already. But part of our mission is to really help lead economic recovery in the region as well, being one of the key economic drivers in the region, in addition to Kirkwood and University and large employers like Collins. The airport is a significant economic driver as well. So we want to be mindful of our role in economic recovery. So some of that money will be used for projects. We have 5 buildings identified for solar projects that we will put solar panels on roofs to help eliminate some ongoing costs and ultimately help lower the operating costs to the airline as we come out of this. Large West apron, general aviation apron expansion that will open up additional opportunities for hangar growth and higher land use value at the end of it. Ongoing projects, let me back up. About $16 million of the CARES Act funds are then be set aside for ongoing operational expenses for the airport. Projects that are continuing to move forward, the UPS facility that was mentioned, that's a $25 million project. The bids will open here in June. runway 1331 or secondary runway. It's a $10 million project that's ongoing as we speak. That just started. We also have parking lots being rehabbed. We have a taxiway circulation pavement around the terminal, nearly a $21 million project that will be opening bids this year as well. So when you add all that up, it's nearly $80 million of investment happening right here at the airport during this time. The good news is the taxiway circulation project at the end there, that changed in light of our CARES funding to 100% federally funded. So that's fantastic. And of course, the 22.8 million and the projects listed there are all 100% funded. So a very unique situation, but we were very happy to be able to be aggressive in receiving significant investments coming into Eastern Iowa and keep Eastern Iowans working. And we're doing that without any debt. So we're paying as we go. So recovery strategy, it's kind of there in short form. It's going to be tough, no doubt about it. But we really have to align our community needs to the new realities and priorities of the carriers. What are the constraints on resources? I mentioned earlier, the airlines are parking aircraft, so we got to figure out what our new realities are and really tailor our strategies to what the airlines are doing. So a lot of that type of activity is ongoing as we speak so that we can be well positioned to get back to 15 nonstop cities as quickly as possible. The forecast for recovery, there it is. So in 2019, we had just under 1.4 million total passengers. You know, we expect to bottom out with around just above 400,000 total passengers first quarter of 21, and then begin to really climb out of it. But you can see recovery is going to take some time. Our forecast estimates, quite honestly, it's like many. Nobody's gone through this before. It's a bit of a crystal ball. So if anybody's got a direct line to the Almighty, I got a question if we could put a plug in and figure out when will we get out of this. But our estimate right now is 5 years before we get back to 2019 numbers. So some of the concluding thoughts is, you know, network carriers, as I mentioned, are going to be significantly smaller by the end of the year. What that means is intense competition for air service for small markets. You know, it's going to be a zero-sum game. If we get new air service or additional frequencies coming back to existing cities, that's going to occur because that airplane has come out of another market nationally. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be brutal. In that respect, from a competitive standpoint, there's no sugarcoating the reality. Leisure traffic will return quicker than business traffic. That's true of most economic recoveries in air service. The leisure tends to come back quicker. We're certainly seeing that on many of our Allegiant flights to popular leisure destinations in Florida, and actually Vegas flights operated last week that we had a Vegas flight that was roughly 50-60% load factor, which isn't great in normal circumstance, but you know, sending 70 people out to Las Vegas right now is a positive sign of recovery. Flights to Florida and Arizona and Allegiant have been averaging, you know, upwards of 140 passengers. So that's fantastic. But that again speaks to leisure traffic coming back quicker. Then lastly, you know, the recovery in that 5-year, you know, recovery slide I showed earlier, at the end of the day, much like local restaurants and Main Street shops, fly local, buy local programs, and certainly the fly local concept has never been more critical than it is today. We are very dependent on the local region and the local economy to support the local air service. And the more people choose to do something different than that, our 5 years may become 7 years and may become, you know, impossible for us to get back to 15 cities. I often say, you know, we can provide a free space for airlines, but if the market and the region's not using it, it doesn't matter if it's free. We got to get the belly buttons in the seats. The region, was doing it. The airlines were investing in us. We have a great track record. We have a great diversified economy. The eds and meds in Iowa City, it's often said, and then of course, large food manufacturing in the area. So I think our economy, we certainly have challenges in certain sectors, but we also have been very resilient. I'm confident we'll come out of it, but it's going to be a challenge. I'm going to also share quickly just some positive things that we're continuing to work with, one of which, and I would have talked more about this if we had the meeting earlier in February and everything was a lot more upbeat, but we are working with Kirkwood. We're actively working with Kirkwood Community College and attempting to put together a new program of aviation maintenance. Would be a new curriculum for Kirkwood, be housed out here at the Eastern Iowa Airport at CID, and hopefully some things can happen legislatively yet this year to help move that forward. And anybody that knows folks looking to do donations of aircraft, talk to Kirkwood Foundation. We did reach out to aircraft owners. So we're actively working and trying to stand that up. So certainly things have slowed down with that a little bit, but hopefully in the next couple of years, we can have a ribbon cutting on a new maintenance program. Wings to Water, I would just say I encourage everybody to check that out. If you go to wings and then the number 2 water.org, we launched that here last year. It's now officially a nonprofit, a new nonprofit, and it's completely separate of the airport, but was championed by the airport in a water quality effort as one of our environmental stewardship goals. And then of course, later this next year, early spring, or I should say late spring, early summer, the UPS facility will be opened and UPS will be moving in. So there are continue to be very bright spots around the airport, but much like, air service is certainly top of mind right now for us to get through recovery. But with that, I know we got a few minutes here. It was a hard stop at 1, but would love to take any questions.
Thank you, Marty. Let's open the floor to questions. If anyone has a question for Marty, please click the raise hand button, and Barb will recognize you in the order that the hands are raised. Barb, we'll turn it over to you for questions.
Right now, we don't have any, but so just remember, people, that the participant button is at the bottom of your screen. So, but I will ask a question because I am slated to fly next Friday on United, which that's going to Chicago, which I don't think of as a vacation destination. Should I expect that on United that there'll be an empty seat between me and anyone else? Do you have any insight on that, Marty?
Yeah, I would tell you, and I would tell everybody a couple things. One, to the question, no, I would not expect an open seat. I think some of that, I understand why the industry was trying to promote that. The reality is it's very, very complicated to socially distance inside the fuselage of any aircraft, quite honestly. And in order to do it effectively, the seat inventory decrease just makes it inefficient. So don't expect that. Do bring a mask. I would tell you, do bring, your small bottle of hand sanitizer. Do bring, wipes to wipe down your own seat area. But the aircraft are cleaned on a very routine basis in between flights. It's never been cleaner at an airport or an aircraft. There's a lot of misconception that the aircraft, the air in the cabin is recycled air. It's not. There's constantly fresh air being brought in. The air that is recirculated, it's 50-50, and the fresh air coming in all passes through HEPA filters on board the aircraft. And I like to tell people, I'm looking to book a trip with my own family. So I wouldn't put my family on an airplane if I didn't think it was a healthy thing. I think it's a safe experience, but we still need to practice, just good, good measures and wear the mask and that sort of thing. But please don't expect social distancing inside an airplane. Hard to do.
Great, thank you. As of right now, I do not think, oh, we do. Devin Van Holstein has a question. Devin?
Got the unmute. Yeah, thanks for coming out today and talking. Good luck with recovery. So that recovery estimation guess that you have for 5 years, it's pretty stark. What are you going to have to change in between now and then to make it?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think it's a combination of things we've been doing already. We've really been working closely with our teams. Our teams have been essential in this process of really robust engagement of ideas on cost savings, new ideas to generate revenue. We've removed about $3 million of operating costs right now. We are asking for all employees of a wage freeze. So we're doing all those steps. We do have some reserves that can also balance us through. So it's going to be kind of a combination. We also, in our survey of guests and region, trying to better understand what people need to see and know, so that we're doing the things that help people's comfort level to return to travel, and make sure our marketing message is on point with that. So those are some of the things we're doing right now. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit quicker, but it could be, our ability to keep the type of investment happening in infrastructure, like I presented earlier, the roughly $80 million of investment, that may likely slow down, would be one thing that folks will see. Right now, it's very robust because many of those grants are not requiring a match, but slowing the terminal construction down saves significant money. So there's a number of things that we're doing, but I think the staff engagement on ways for us to find new opportunities is the most important aspect right now.
Next, we have a question from Melissa.
Hi, just wondering, has anything changed with the new Amazon hub that's over on the southeast side of town? Has traffic increased up there in Cedar Rapids then?
Well, air cargo continues to be a bright spot. DHL is one of our 3 cargo carriers, I would say, has seen the most significant uptick in volume compared to FedEx and UPS. And DHL has a direct relationship with Amazon. So although I haven't had a formal conversation to say that's the direct result, but I do suspect that's directly related.
Great.
So that's been good news for us.
We maybe have a chance for 1 or 2 more. Mary Ellen Lewis has a question. Mary Ellen?
Yes, I may have missed this somewhere when you began your presentation, but I, as an older person, have been banned from volunteering at the hospital in these days. But as a former volunteer, the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics and all of their entrance areas have thermal scanners. And I wondered if the airport, if you have thought about putting in some thermal scanners as people come in through the elevator or the escalators, because I know that gives people a sense of safety a little bit and also awareness. And they seem to work really well. So just wondering if that's in your thought process.
Yeah, we have actually looked at a number of thermal scanner technology that's out there. I know of one airport, Payne Field, although they're closed right now for construction, has implemented thermal scanner. What we're doing is looking, because temperature, and when in our conversations with healthcare experts, temperature is one of the symptoms, but not the only one, and not everybody presents with a temperature. So we're looking at and having active conversations actually with the healthcare provider at potentially our version of a healthcare screening. So more to come on that. It's an active conversation, but it would be something that's a little more robust than just temperature. So more to come on that, but I'm hopeful that that'll be something that we would roll out, because I certainly have heard, it is something folks are looking for. Interesting though, in our survey that I alluded to earlier, health screening at airports was not rated as high as I thought it would be for people, but we're doing quarterly surveys to get a gauge of people's changing thinking around health aspects moving forward over the course of the next 12 months. So more to come on that, but yes, we're looking at it, but we're taking a little bit different approach, that if we do start doing screening of health at some level, it'll be a little bit more robust than just temperature. So
great. Let's take one last question. We have one from Greg Thermopoulos. Greg?
Thank you so much. This was an excellent presentation, and I really appreciate the information which you provided. My question relates to the airlines that will continue to serve Cedar Rapids Airport. Do you expect or anticipate a significant reduction in the number of flights daily, or will they remain the same, or will they be slightly down?
Yeah, so we have had a significant reduction in number of daily departures. We would, on average day pre-COVID, we're about 34 departures a day. We're now down to roughly 14. Yeah. It depends on the day too. That's one of the stronger days if the Legion's flying, but it's more in the 10 to 12 daily departures. So a significant reduction in departures and seats. Good news on that front is Delta is adding a frequency back to Minneapolis in June. So we're seeing some early stages of the trend line going the right way for recovery. And we're seeing it with some carriers bringing service back. But so our goal is to definitely get it back, but that's gonna really be driven by all of us in this region's comfort level of getting back in airplanes and moving about the country, and really business traffic and business policies relative to corporate travel beginning to loosen. I know many corporates have outright stopped travel during this time. So some of those, and we're hearing some of those are loosening in June, that will all help us get more and more frequencies back in the market. So we're starting to see some return, but it's very slow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Marty. And so our meeting is being recorded. Marty, is it okay with you if we, it's optional, but is it okay with you if we share your presentation on our social media platforms, including YouTube? It's our hope that between the attendance we've got here today and then the folks that watch these recorded meetings, that your talk today will go far to spread the word on the measures, the various measures you're taking to make the flights safe as possible. And, so it's okay if we do spread the word?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for your time and for all of your efforts to make flights in our area as safe as you can. We appreciate all you're doing, and boy, I sure hope that once we get through this, there's a ton of pent-up demand to get out and about and to see the world again, and for people to attend Rotary meetings in person. So we're all in it together, I guess. But thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the invite.
You bet. Well, we conclude our meetings with the recitation of the four-way test. So for those members that are able, please join me in standing. We'll recite the four-way test.
This is good to know because
Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Truth.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill or friendships?
Beneficial to all concerned.
Beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, everyone. Our meeting is adjourned. Have a great day.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Christina.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Barb.
Bye, Bernie. Thanks for being here today.
Yes.
Good program, I thought.
Oh, excellent. Very well done.
I remember when he came a couple years ago, I thought it was fascinating. You know,
Yeah.
there's just a whole aspect of, you know, airport management that I hadn't really pondered before.
Lots of responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 5 years to come back. Oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
boy, that's something.
Barb, you'll have to tell us about your flight experience.
I
after
know.
you returned from Chicago.
I was scheduled to fly to Denver on a direct flight. And that was, you know, the main reason I kept it. I try to escape every year for a week with my sister. And so, you know, they gave me the opportunity to cancel or change it. And I went back and forth and I thought, okay, it's a direct flight. It's going to be fine. It's just direct. And that, you know, I'll wear my mask and do all of this. And then yesterday, just yesterday, I got the email that now I have to go through Chicago.
Yes.
I have about an hour in between both ways to, you know, I even did the little map, like, okay, I have to go from gate, you know, because of course I'm going to come in here and I got to go there. But I have, you know, several masks, so I will wear one. But then I also got one of those face shields from,
Yes.
I think they sell them at the, what is it, out on the university's center out on Oakdale. I think that's where one of my coworkers was able to get me one. So I think I'll do the mask, the shield, you know, and then I haven't thought about taking my own wipes and like wiping down my seat, but probably should. So
Take some gloves.
yeah, I thought about that too. I actually, last weekend, we went to the Kelowna Cheese Factory and they actually had boxes of gloves out front. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a pair because, you know, so I thought I would take those with me, but.
You might want to get a hazmat outfit.
The full thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye,
just as
Bernie.
a final note about our youth exchange student, her flight to return to Germany was very confusing because initially she was on Delta and Delta would not allow minors under age 18 to fly unaccompanied until some date in the future. So luckily her last host dad had many air miles that he donated to the cause. So she was able to get on a United flight that didn't have that requirement.
Wow.
So lots of rules that you don't know until you actually have to book your flight.
I agree. Even last night I was looking and, you know, I bought this because I got like a great fare. It's like $330, right? And I was like, this is awesome. You know, I'm going to grab this. Well, then yesterday is when I realized that it's like the full, like lowest level economy and that nowadays, like all those things are different. So on United, that means that they will not let me take a standard carry-on bag. Because my other thought was, don't check a bag because other people are handling it and you don't know where it's going to go. So just take your carry-on. So I was like, okay, I'll pack less, you know, but, you know, I'll do this. And now I'm like, I can't take that. So I have, you know, I have a bag that I think I can hopefully sneak through. It kind of looks like a duffel. I can put it over my shoulder. And that hopefully they won't really realize that it's about, you know, I think the limit was 17 inches and it's like 21. I just won't pack it super full. And since my sister lives in Boulder, she's going to meet me there and we're going to drive down to Taos. You know, I'm just making this list of stuff for her to bring. You know, she has to bring the shampoo and, you know, a fleece for me for if it gets cold at night. And, you know, I'm like, you know, going to try to pack as minimally as I can and then just tell her that she has to bring more stuff. So.
Well, have a great time with your sister.
Thanks. Yep. I've got one more week and then Devin gets to try to run this meeting.
Yay. He can do it. He
Yeah,
can do it.
I think he can. So, yeah. All right. Good to see you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Good to see you, Stephanie.
Good to see you.